listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, as always, making sure everything is right. Coming to you from ESPN 95, 92.5. Man, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot going on out there right now. But I want to thank all the guys in the chat, all the super chatters as well, man. Let's get ready to ride. I know you guys got a lot of questions. The news is still pretty much almost seem like it's kind of like a neutral right now. Other than it's been some one thing I want to talk about was Chris Jericho versus Brian Danielson. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, Brad.
I watched it,
but I tell you, man, I said I was going to call Chris Jericho the Mick Jagger of professional wrestling, but I'm changing it now. He's like from the X-Men, the professor. You know what I mean? Teaching the master class. I'm serious, man. That's my dog, man. As far as a guy who's been a high-level worker for many, many years. We talk about that. It's a lot going on, man. I know we may have a couple of technical difficulties today, guys. Brad is living in an area where the Xfinity is out.
It's out.
And when I say it's out, I mean it's out. But Brad's a trooper. He's a trooper, though, man. He's a soldier. He said we're gonna get this done by any means necessary. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the show done today by any means necessary. As you can see me, I'm looking crystal clear, baby. The beard. The beard is looking right. It's growing, man. It's growing back. I'm getting the length back on it. It's got a little gray in it too, so I got that mature, look going on too. The ladies seem to like the gray in it as well, so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let that go. But yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good.
I'm sure you are, Book, and thank you for bearing with me, everybody, with these tech issues. Hopefully we get through them. But you know what? There was a story that came out today, non-wrestling related, that I said I can't wait to actually talk to Booker about this, because this is one of your guys. Now, for people watching who are listening who might not know, Booker loves himself some tennis. I remember many a days watching you play on I think it was on the PlayStation 3, maybe. You were doing your Grand Tennis Championship. You've watched. We've talked about Serena here,
as well as on the PSP. I played Xavier Woods one time overseas. He thought he was going to just beat up on me, and you can link the old PSPs, and he's like, "Yeah, come on," you know what I mean? And I beat him up so bad. I beat him like so bad. In straight sense, he didn't even want to play me anymore. He always tell that story about me and my tennis game, but definitely, man.
Well, you were the original guy. There's a lot of criticisms nowadays about guys playing video games backstage, but you were the original video game player, right, in the backstage. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I remember if you told me this or I read it in your book or heard somebody talk about it. When you won the world title, they kind of give you like a, hey, what do you want, Book? You're the champ. You're the world champ. What do you need? And did you not ask for like a 60-inch television and a PlayStation to be on the truck so every stop y'all could play?
Actually, for me, they tried to appease me, and they wanted to give but we're going to give you your own locker room. And I was like, man, I don't want my own locker room. I didn't want to isolate myself from the boys or anything like that. I said, but what you can do is get me a 50-inch television and put it on the truck and make sure it's at every, show so we can play Madden, and they did it. They got me a 50-inch TV. They put it on the truck. It was at every TV. It was at the house shows. And it was crazy, man, but that was my perk that I wanted, for us to be able to play Madden. And I was the king of Madden at that time too, man. Nobody could stop me.
So, but anyway, I brought up all of this because of the tennis star Roger Federer announced today that his next Open, which I think is next week, or his next match today is coming up, tournament, is going to be his last, and he's going to step away from the game. Now, this is one of the guys who's been One of the GOATs,
Oh
right? I
man,
mean, when you
the
talk
goat,
about
the goat,
the GOAT,
not one, yeah, the goat, yeah.
and I know that you followed his career, and you always even refer to him when we talk about anything. You'd be like, it's like Roger Federer. So, talk to me about how you took this news.
Yeah, man. Something came up on my phone, and it said Roger Federer is going to be retiring. And I was like, wow, like you say, the goat. They had a term about Roger Federer. When you played him, you was coming to club fed. Club Fed's closed down, man. They've been to close it down, man. But what a career, man. What a precise player, a guy that went out there and made it look like, you know, like it was an extension of him. That's how Roger Federer played the game. And he made it look so easy to him. And everybody he played, I know those guys, took something away from every loss that they took from Roger Federer. But what a career, man! What a career, and what a player, Roger Federer. I consider the greatest tennis player that ever played the game,
I mean, just bar none.
bar none, bar none. And I think, and you know what's crazy is I don't think it's crazy, but I could almost say that his peers probably would say the same thing. I'm talking about his peers, even that played before him. That's how good this guy was. He was like the Matrix when it came to playing that. And I love tennis. I don't miss a big tournament or anything like that, open or anything like that. I don't miss those matches. And Federer was, as well as you know Djokovic, of course, and Rafa. Nadal has always been, players and competing against him. Of course, Novak finally figured the puzzle out, but it took him like years to figure the puzzle out. Rafa figured the puzzle out, but it took him years to figure the puzzle out. So it was just amazing to watch his career.
It's rare that you see one of the greats, that you're around to see one of the greats call it a day, right? Call it a career. Um, do you think that he will have a Tom Brady moment and say, you know what? I know I said this was a wrap, but he's still playing at his peak powers. And I think it's hard to step away when you know you can still do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna, say, man, let me. I don't know. I ain't ready to do this just yet. But you can see Rogers lost a step. You can see that, Rogers not the Roger of old, and that's just father time, as well as that's just these young guys being able to, catch up and figure it out, and they're younger, faster, stronger. That's just the way, life is. No matter how good you are, the young guy still might beat you just because, that endurance factor, perhaps. But I don't know, man. If he does, I'll be there to root him on. I can tell you that. But I do want to see him have a general send off because he's been a general for that game for many, many years.
Who would have thought that in a couple weeks in tennis, the two preeminent players in both their, genders, if you will, the top man and the top woman of the last several years are going to walk away within a couple years. I mean, a couple weeks.
Hey, man. Yeah, yeah, yes. It's kind of ironic, but maybe it's a higher power. Maybe it's something that we, have yet to be seen. Like Serena says, she's not really retiring. She's evolving. You know, so I wonder what that means. So I want to see what's next more than anything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see coming up. But Book, we do have some wrestling to talk about. We have some MMA to talk about. A lot
Yeah,
of things going on
yeah,
in the world of sports and entertainment. So we get to them, but I think we are we due
yeah. We
for a
got to take a
break?
break. We got to take a break. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. And I tell you, man, I cannot wait because right now I'm feeling good. I told you guys I had a therapy done on the knees, a PRP therapy, man. I told you I was going to be dunking in a couple of days. But today I was doing the Running Man. I'm back. I'm back. So I'm just saying.
You're back in 1985.
I'm feeling good. Wife had to slow me down for a minute, man, because I thought I was kid and play.
Paid monetary spokesperson for Walker, Texas lawyer.
Hey, this is Booker T.
And I'm Queen Charmel.
Everybody out there, we will be supporting HBCU football on CW39.
As a Spelman grad, I know I'm supporting them. But remember, if you're injured in an accident, who you gonna call?
Walker, the Texas lawyer.
That's right.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Man, the beard is looking right, man. You guys need some tips on what I've been doing lately, man. Just let me know. Let me know in the chat, and I definitely will let you know exactly what I've been doing to try to make sure I get this thing right, man. It's gonna be a beast by WrestleMania time. By WrestleMania, the beard is gonna be a beast. It's gonna be on. Can't wait. What you want to talk about, man?
Hey, Book, I have a couple things I want to talk about. First off, I want to read you some stats, right? I want to read you some stats here, and I want to just kind of go through this with you for a moment. If I were to tell you there was a wrestler, a professional wrestler who has this resume, right? I just want you to tell me kind of what word would come to your mind. This wrestler is a 5-time tag team champion, a 3-time U.S. champion, a 4-time world champion. He is a Slammy Award winner, a Royal Rumble winner, a Money in the Bank winner, and a King of the Ring. If I list those credentials, what one word would come to your mind?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, right? Legend, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those, whether you know it or not, those stats are of an active member of the WWE roster. And that's from Sheamus. And I want to say, Sheamus lately, and not that he hasn't always been this great, Sheamus lately, at this stage in his career, has put it into the next gear. That match that he had with Walter or Gunther at Clash of the Castle and everything he's been doing since in this IC title feud has made, I think, me and so many others really appreciate the body of work Sheamus has put in. Sheamus is 44 years of age. He's 44. Wow. He's been in WWE for a very long time, longer than a lot of people remember. What do you think? Where do you think his place is right now on the roster? And how are we going to look at Sheamus when he calls it a day?
I just said it. I think Sheamus is going to be a Hall of Famer. Sheamus is one of the guys that's always been, in my fave 5. Always been one of my guys. I think very, very highly of Sheamus. He's a worker. He's a guy that's a worker too. He's not one of those guys that's, just looking to be, the guy that's at the top of the card. He's a soldier, which, soldiers normally find their way, to the top of the card, just because for that reason alone. But Sheamus is one of those guys, man, that I've always looked at, just like here as of late. He's been able to change his character, and he was, doing the Irish pub, drinking man, with his boys, hanging out, whatnot. Which, sometimes when you in the business, you got to be able to, shift gears for a second. And I was one of the guys. I don't know if you remember me saying it, but I was like, man, I want to see the Celtic Warrior back. I want to see the guy that come out, that white light, and freaking, that's the Sheamus that made me, like, oh man, this dude right here, Viking Warrior. And now, he's got that feel back again, and being able to go out. The thing is, he's got guys that he can actually go out there and have those matches with. Also, like a Drew McIntyre, another big guy. A guy like Gunther, another big guy, and go toe to toe, back and forth. Heavyweights, something I talk about all the. I said this was going to be the year of the heavyweight. I said that, didn't I? But yeah, man, I love it. Seeing Sheamus go out there and perform at this level. And there again, I love what he tried to do also by switching his character and giving me some entertainment for a minute as well.
Yeah, I think that he's drastically underrated as far as today's standards, right? And I love that he's getting put back in this light of being a go-to guy for the company, because I can't imagine when he came in, if memory serves me correct, within a couple of months, literally within a couple of months, he beat John Cena for the world title. Now, not a lot of guys can say that. I don't know. I mean, that's got to place unrealistic expectations, right? For you as a performer, like, oh, I was here for a couple months, I'm already the world champ, it's going to be like this forever. But two, probably unneeded pressure early in your career in WWE. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're not wrong as far as that goes. But going back to your other point, as far as Sheamus and what we're seeing out of Sheamus right now, this all just happened. This switch with Sheamus almost just happened here in the last couple of months, right?
Almost a couple weeks, really.
Well, as far as him coming out with the Celtic look and whatnot, it started about last month or so.
You might be right about that. Mm-hmm.
I got to give Hunter a lot of credit, man. You can't look over that. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what I said when Vince left and Hunter and Stephanie took over. And I say, man, it's like your kids taking over your job. They're gonna know how to work the computer and everything a whole lot better. You know what I mean? and I think that's what we see right now. Vince was heavy on the entertainment side. He loved that side, and you can go back in the history of Vince McMahon running the company from the gimmicks that came through over the years that was so crazy and out there. And I think Hunter and Stephanie see it a little bit different with the same characters and what these same characters can actually turn out to be. So I think I really got to give the crew a whole lot of credit as far as the direction, as far as a lot of things going on right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the return of first names for a lot of people, right? I mean, we have Tommaso Ciampa back, we have Austin Theory back, we have Matt Riddle back, and to me, even though it's a small change, I think it adds realism to the product. And maybe I'm looking too much into that, but when you have somebody who's going by a full name, they feel like a real guy.
Let me tell you something. Reason why you're not going too far with it, because just say, for instance, if me and you buddy, we're friends. I'm gonna call you Matt, okay? But if me and you are friends and then I get ticked off at you, I'm gonna call you Riddle.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Because it's something that makes the dynamic change from a subtle perspective. And everybody know it just because you didn't call them the friendship buddy name that you always call them. It's like you and your wife, when everything's good. Hey, baby, what's going on? Where you at, baby? Where you at? But when you're mad, what you want, Charmel?
You know what? That's true.
You know what I mean? Am I right or wrong?
You're 100% right. In my 5 months of marriage, I've learned that.
I'm telling you, I'm sure you and your girl get into it. So she go, what you want?
Yeah. You know what? You're right. But she might be listening, so you're wrong.
I know she's listening.
That's not how it goes.
She do the same thing to me. Yeah, Bucker.
But you know what? That's actually a really interesting point, because I think about it even in movies, right? If I go to my frame of reference, the bad guys never call James Bond James. They'll either say Bond or Mr. Bond, right? Biff Tannen never calls Marty McFly Marty. He calls him McFly, right? I mean, that's just the way that it goes, right?
Yeah.
So it is an interesting distinction. I just want to give Sheamus his flowers. You know, while I was thinking about him, and I actually saw as our conversation came up, we do have a super chat regarding the Celtic Warrior. This comes from Brooklyn Brian. Sheamus is beefing with MJF on Twitter, saying real heels wear a scarf when MJF is number 16 plus 10 on the 2022 PWI 500, and Sheamus is number 126.
Wow.
Well, I mean that a lot of that's hype, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like the PWI 500 goes more so on. I think it goes more so on like hype and like, you know, what kind of year you had. Not so much of always your matches, because I don't think MJF is the greatest technical athlete ever. Sure, that has something to do with it, but I think it's more of like the buzz that you've generated this year.
Well, me personally, let's get past, the number, what's that, 16 and number 126. I love to see the two in the ring. Going, one-on-one fisticuffs in a match. I'm talking about a wrestling match now. I don't want anybody out there to say I want MJF and Sheamus to actually go out and have a fight or anything like that. But I love to see those two in the ring. And, for that to happen, MJF is going to have to make a move over to WWE. And me personally, I love to see that happen as well. I'm not lobbying for it or anything like that. But MJF is a guy that got my attention. People didn't, think about how big Roddy Piper was. They just wanted to see him get into a fight with someone, just because he ticked someone off that much. That's the way this guy is, MJF. When he come to town, MJF's name is going to get there well before his wrestling prowess. I just feel that way, just because certain guys have that, that it factor, and he's one of them. So for me, Sheamus, MJF in a match, oh man, that's money, baby.
This is how you know MJF is more over as and again, this is not an indictment on his in-ring work or ability at all, and I don't want it to be taken as that, but this is how you know that he's more over as a character than a wrestler, because what's his finish? I have no idea.
I don't know. We got to take a break. On that note right there. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
See what Harlem need? It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the fame. It was about the reckoning.
Edge, you have a big match tonight. Tell me, what's going on in your mind?
This is summer. Hey, kid. Did a good job out there, man. Maybe next time, though. Hey, what do you know about it next time? Oh, are you crazy? Hey, back up. Hey, back up. I'm a small your mind. Come on. Come on. I got your number.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just chopping it up, talking a little bit of sports and entertainment. What's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. We got any more super chats, man?
We do. This comes from Brooklyn Brian, who says Baron Corbin said he'd buy MJF a matching fedora to go along with, I guess, the scarf. So there you have it. I've seen Baron and MJF trade tweets every so often. I don't know if
man,
it's just
look here, bro. I like using social media in the right way, and that's cool. I'm serious. I mean, with these guys, jocking back and forth, and the thing is, it's a friendly jock too. It ain't talking out of line to where someone is, trying to shoot on someone in a perspective from a perspective to what somebody really going to get upset about it. I don't think it's anything. It's kind of like tongue in cheek. You know what I mean? Let's have some. These guys might know each other. I hear MJF all the time. He say, "Man, I got Bruce Pritchard phone number on speed dial." You know, I mean, from working with him in MLW. You know, so
Right.
it's not like he haven't met a lot of these guys. So I don't see why you can't use social media. If you use it right. He's got normally MJF normally uses it right.
I agree. This comes from DJ 1491, who says, Booker, what matters more, character or in-ring work? That's a tough one.
I think both. Both really, really matters a whole lot. And just let me use for an example, character. And I'm gonna go way back just to give you an example that you can understand from a. If you was 10 years old, you should be able to understand it. The Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man was, will always perhaps be the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all times. I mean, in my book, just because he believed it, he went out and performed it on a regular, and then you say, well, Honky Tonk Man, he couldn't work, he wasn't a great worker. The Honky Tonk Man was a great worker. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot at all, but he knew how to go out there and make those baby faces look damn good when they were supposed to look good every single time. You're not going to remember a bad match the Honky Tonk Man had because he wasn't doing a whole lot for you to remember other than what you needed to remember. And I swear, man, having both qualities is necessary. And now you got you got the guy that's has the character and can have the the work to go along with it. That's just icing on the cake. It's just a different style, but you got to have both when it comes to being in the business and making it to the next level.
Yeah, and I guess if I were to answer his question from my perspective is if you have to choose which one, like if you had to choose one of the two, I think the one you would choose would be character, right? Because when I think about what's drawn houses, normally the best technical wrestler doesn't draw the house. It's the guy who's the biggest star. Normally the biggest star comes from the biggest personality or the one that's most attractive to people.
But the biggest star cannot not be able to go out there and be a general. I mean, I'm not saying
totally agree. Totally agree.
I'm not saying he's got turn flips or do anything like that. That guy got to be like a worker. He's got to know exactly what the business is all about, and that means this guy's he's a really good. You got to have that part. You can't go out there and stink the house up and not give the crowd the payoff. You could talk them into the building, but if you can't give them the payoff, you're not going to last very long at all.
Totally agree. I totally agree. And I guess what a really good example is somebody like Hogan, right? Hogan isn't regarded necessarily for his technical ability, but the brother could work, right?
He talked him in the building, and then he would go out there and deliver, a match that made you feel something when you walked out of that arena. You wanted to go buy the shirt.
Yeah, 100%. You wanted to buy you wanted to have the bandana. You wanted to go home. You wanted to put cuts in the shirt so you could rip it yourself.
I'm just
saying,
saying,
for the payoff of the match.
The payoff is very important. You can't have one without the other. You just can't.
Yeah, I totally agree. Speaking of guys who know how to work, let's talk about the main event of AEW because AEW drew 1.175. I saw 1.2 million somewhere else. He said, "Let's go. Thanks, MJF." I think that's in large part to the main event that was promoted of Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson for the second time ever, one-on-one, first time in AEW. I think that drew the majority of the number for me, at least from my perspective. I don't know what you think, Book, but that's a really great number for AEW. And all I'll say is, if I'm CM Punk, I don't like seeing that number. That's just all I'll say. You don't have to comment on that, but that's what I'll say.
No, man. I didn't watch the show. I didn't see MJF or anything. What did he do? What did MJF do?
I mean, just MJF things,
Okay.
But
Okay.
I think Brooklyn Bryant's talking about him being back in general.
No. Okay. But no, I had walked in, man, and literally, I swear to God, and I was sitting down, and I like, oh, Dynamite, let me see what's on for the main event. It was last 30 minutes, and it was Chris Jericho and Danielson, and I was like, man, let me watch this and see what my old comrade go out there and pull off, because me and Chris, we go back a long way. We've had a lot of matches together. Those are the matches I remember most, because Chris was one of the guys that he went above and beyond to make everything I did to him look better than anybody else could take it. It was amazing, but he would go out of his way, and I just wanted to see what Chris was going to bring to the table. And I swear, man, dude still can go out and perform at the highest level. If those guys in the locker room, if they just took a little bit of that away and used it, they would be in a much better place, because psychology was right on, as far as I'm a hybrid. You know what I mean? I don't just try to think what old school works at all. I try to think what these young guys do at the same time, and try to mix it in there when you possibly can. And they talk about the strong style all the time, and then to see somebody use the strong style properly, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Chris Jericho knew his role, man. It was what a performance by Chris and Danielson. I give those guys a 5-star rating.
Well, there you go. Can I point out something too I noticed in the match? And this is a lot of credit to Jericho as well, because Jericho comes out, he's supposed to be the heel in the match, right? Now he makes his entrance, though. The whole crowd is singing Judas. They pop to see him. In the beginning of the match, half the crowd's chanting for Danielson, half the crowd's chanting for Jericho. But Jericho just knowing how to work that audience, right? And Brian too, but Jericho especially, when he has that moment where he's got Brian out and Brian's on the floor and the meds are coming to check on him, and then he throws them aside. He starts going to town on the leg, and then he does the little trio woe on the ring post. The whole crowd started booing the hell out of him, right?
Yeah.
And that's the mark of a great worker, how to take people who love you, because we love Chris Jericho. We love him for all the years that he's given us, but to still know how to make them turn on you. It's great stuff.
Nah, man. That's what I talk about all the time, as far as, a moment. It's going to be there and it's going to be gone. And those guys took advantage of that moment. Chris Jericho went out there and, man, just the ultimate professional. And I don't, I don't talk about guys too often, as far as, how good they are. But that damn Chris Jericho has been really, really good for a lot of years, man. I just give him a whole lot of credit.
Hey, man, one of the greats, and definitely one of the greats in the AEW, when you talk about something being built on somebody's back, right? I mean, started with Jericho.
Hey, man, that's why, that's why I talk like that, and then to see him do it for Danielson, when the match bill was, Danielson had never beaten Chris Jericho, and they had only worked once. And then to go out there and do it, but not just go out there and do it, but do it to where the people go, wow, man, that was awesome. And me, like I said, I don't like giving away any of the tricks of our trade or anything like that. But I watched those two go out there, and it was like when I first worked with Steamboat, and it was in front of, I don't know, 7,000-8,000 people or something like that, maybe, a house show in Germany. And I just sit there under that learning tree, and I just listened and learned and walked and talked, and the crowd was just watching, our magic, and they didn't see anything but the work, so that's what the young guys, I talk, my students are listening right now. I say, watch that match, because, try to catch the moments where you can learn from and go, okay, I could use that, because that's what the business is all about, trying to evolve to that next level, trying to get to that next phase to where when you walk out the curtain, you don't have to have anything in your head other than, what do I want the crowd to feel tonight? We got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We got a whole lot going on, man. Hey, man, I just want to drop something. I don't know if you know about them or anything, but I got those Bose earbuds, and I tell you, man, there's something like some of the best earbuds I ever had. Like when you put them on, just like say for instance, and you're on the plane, and a baby could be crying right next to you, you won't even hear. All right.
Amen.
And that's not, I mean, I'm serious. That's what, no sound. It's not like with the music playing or anything, just having them on. That's how good they are. And one of my earbuds went out. I was like, man, I was hot about it. So I took them back to Best Buy to get, see what the warranty was about and whatnot. And it was these Bose frames, like glasses. And literally, when you put them on, they look like Ray-Bans. You put them on, they Bluetooth to your phone. The music sounds like you got earbuds on. Nobody,
and they're like in the frame of the glasses. The speakers are.
Oh yeah, I was like, man, I gotta get me a pair of these, man. And I came home last night, and they was on the bed on my pillow. Charmel got them for me. I was like, oh, man, that's sweet, man. But I had to put them on, man. I swear, man, they're so awesome. I'm the gadget guy. I'm the first. Yeah. I'm the first one to have a GPS in wrestling.
No more key maps.
Hey, man, no more maps. No more getting lost in New York. But then in the beginning, the GPS would even get lost in New York. That's how bad it was. But no,
it'd be like, I don't know where the hell I am. I'm on first. I'm between first and 101st. I'm somewhere between.
I swear I was going down a one-way street and I was so messed up, man. And in New York, it's cops everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I told the cop who I was. He, got me on track. Got me in the building.
But shout out to Bose, and also shout out to Rode for these great headphones that we have right now that we're using for the show. They keep your ears cool, man. I really like them. We have a couple more super chats here, Book. This is from this guy named Alex, who said Malenko and Eddie, for instance, they were both put each other over, but I feel like Eddie was more popular in the end. And I think that's, again, we're talking about character versus in-ring style, which is more important. Eddie's one of those guys who had both in spades.
Well, Eddie adapted to it. I mean, just say for instance, in WCW, Eddie didn't have to entertain. All he had to do was wrestle. It's the only thing he was there for. Eddie wasn't there to do promos or anything like that. Only thing Eddie was there for was to wrestle. And then when he went to WWF, I mean, Eddie evolved, but Eddie was, I think, prepared for what WWE was getting ready to throw at him. But just like myself in WCW, I didn't have to do anything but wrestle. I didn't have to, entertain, and make people laugh or anything like that. When I got to WWE, I had to learn how to entertain. They actually put me in position to where they was going to test me to see if I could figure that part out as well. It was like on the job training also, so you got to be well-rounded as far as, being in this business. Eddie was perfect for the job.
Yeah. Man, when he figured out how to like lie, cheat, and steal as a baby face, like that's like the greatest gift of all, right? To
Yeah.
figure out how to lie, cheat, and steal. And as the baby face,
Yeah.
that's the keys to Midas's kingdom right there.
No. Eddie was great at what he did, man. He was top notch worker. You go back and watch the match with Eddie and Rey Mysterio. Only thing you can go is just wow. I mean, how can they pull this off? It was just like poetry in motion as far as two guys going out and working each other, and it seemed like they knew what each other wanted to do without, just from a wink or a nod. It was crazy, man. And everything was perfect. Everything was flawless. And but then
you're talking about their Halloween Havoc match from '98.
Yeah, man. So my thing is, great worker, man. Great friend as well.
But also the evolution of Eddie. Take Eddie and Ray, but let's fast forward to 06 or 05, whenever the ladder match was at SummerSlam for the custody of Dominic, right? The Dominic on a pole ladder match, essentially. All that whole thing, yeah, they had their spots, they had their big moments, but the drama that they were able to sell night and day from their 98 Halloween Havoc match, but still as engaging and enthralling.
Hey man, I always talk about the when when Eddie told Ray was like, I'm gonna win the match, And Eddie goes, it doesn't matter because Dominic is going home with me tonight. And I was laughing so freaking hard. I was like, that's some damn great entertainment right there, man, because wrestling was secondary to him getting the kid. You know what I mean? And that what was so dramatic about that scene right there. It didn't matter if you won. Dominic's going home with me tonight. It's just cruel. It's just cruel. And that's what Eddie was good. Man. He was so good, man. Seriously.
He was great. He was so great. I mean, the I'm your papi, right? And the Dominic, kudos to Dominic too. I don't know how old he was, but boy, did he pull it off, right? Like you felt for Dominic in the role, and he played his character.
Dominic played a hell of a role. I tell you, we did a episode with Legends with Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and we talked a lot about this as far as Rey and Dominic being so young, not really understanding fully as far as, was this real or not?
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really, really intriguing to hear from that perspective also. But I tell you, man, this business, you got to grow up quick, man. So that kid, look at him now.
He's there. He's on the main roster. I think we have time for another super chat before we head out. This is Brooklyn Brian, who says MJF's finishing move is the double cross and salt of the earth. Next Dynamite is Mox versus Danielson. Danielson will win, and Mox on vacay. Okay, well, there you go. Brooklyn Brian, obviously a big fan of MJF, as we all are. But he's a big fan.
And AEW. And, I said, if it goes that way, I wouldn't be mad or anything. Danielson is the perfect champion. And there again, man, got guys like him around there who has contributed a whole lot as well, even though, they haven't been throwing it out there, throwing it in anybody's faces or anything like that. And to see him win the title, I'm sure he's going to go out there and try to represent it properly. So, and Danielson has always been in my fave five, man. I don't know what you guys, people can say what they want to say as far as me talking about, Danielson, even though it was another name when I was talking about it. But this guy has always been in my fave five. I don't think he missed a week where he wasn't in my fave five. I coined the phrase, "That's my boy D. Bryan." Everybody started calling him D. Bryan because I started calling him D. So I am a big fan of Bryan Danielson.
As we all are. How could you not be? How could you not be a fan? And we've had D. Bryan on the show. We've had him on the show. He sat down. I actually remember that day. We went to a SmackDown house show and we were getting some interviews and Daniel Bryan was there and we asked him for one. He's like, "Hey man, I got to go stretch. Like, can I get you later?" And I'm thinking, he's not going to come through. That was a nice out. Then he came back. He's like, "How long is the segment?" And we're like, "Hey, it's like 10 minutes. Okay, cool." We talked for 34 minutes. And finally, you had to cut him off.
Yeah, talk about MMA, talk about everything, So, man, good dude, man, good dude. Seriously, yeah, one of my favorite people.
Yeah, salt of the earth. Well, Book, there's still stuff on the other side of the break. Of course, I think we got to take a quick one, but we'll get back to these super chats. And I found an article that I want to read to you about your career. So we'll get to it.
Do it now, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
What's going on? It's WWE superstar Apollo Crews here. I just want to talk for a minute about what the Indies meant to me. Traveled up and down the road for a long time, and they meant so much to me. It was a huge part of getting me to where I am today, and that is a part of the WWE. I actually did some work with Booker in Houston, drove from Atlanta. Those drives, I feel like those drives that we take, 14-hour drives, those type of things develop some kind of character in you that you can't find anywhere else. The Indies mean a lot to me. Got to travel to Japan, Europe, UK, toured all over, and for me, it was just a huge part of helping me become the superstar that I am today. So I'm very grateful that I got to experience the Indies, and that's it for me.
What's up, this Booker T, two-time Hall of Famer. I know you're checking out the shine, checking out the gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me as always. We're just talking a little sports and entertainment right now, taking all super chats, answering all questions. But what we got, Brad?
This is coming in from our man Cali Toenail, who said, "Anyone believe Solo Sikoa got his belt only because he's a part of the bloodline and they want him to have all the gold? How much longer can this tribal cheat go on?" Yeah, Solo Sikoa won the NXT North American Championship on NXT on Tuesday.
Hey, man, roll with it. You roll with it if it's hot, man, in wrestling. That's just the way the business is always going down. If it's hot, man, you ride with it. Sikoa he's bona fide. He's bona fide to be champion. And especially if we moving him up the ladder, to have a little bit of gold at the same time. Hey, that don't hurt either. As far as Roman Reigns, we was talking about the PWI 500. I think Roman topped it at number 1, right?
I do believe.
Hey, man, so I know when I was coming up, people can say what they want to say about the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, top 500 wrestlers in the world. I think I peaked at, I don't know, number 3, something like that. I don't know.
You were definitely in the top 5. Somewhere. You were floating.
I was definitely in the top 5, and I tell you, man, that was a damn good moment for me when I saw that in the magazine, top 500 wrestlers in the world, and my name is, hovering That meant a whole lot. So Roman should feel really, really good about himself because he's played a hell of a role over these last 3 years. He's put himself in position to be literally, he's a made man. He's ironclad now, man. He's the Teflon done. So I give him credit for what he's done.
Yeah, Roman, by the way, I think it's a good time to bring it up. I think the run should continue on to WrestleMania. Interestingly enough, I find myself, as I do normally, agreeing with you in retrospect. Sometimes it takes me a few months to see it the way that you see it. But I do agree now in retrospect, we should have 2 world titles.
Oh,
I
really?
do agree now.
What made you
I do
change
agree
your mind?
now.
Why'd you
Only well, because I think they're in a bit of a quandary with Roman. I do. I think they're in a bit of a quandary as far as being able to continue his run as the world champion and also have a compelling matchup for the rest of the cards. Because being though he's not there every show, he's not going to be on Extreme Rules. Being as though we have 2 nights of WrestleMania. Yeah, I kind of see the need for 2 world titles.
Oh, really? Isn't that what I said?
Don't get
though?
hot about it.
I'm
It
not
is
getting
what you
hot
said,
about it.
but
I'm just saying,
it
but
is what you said. But at the time, we hadn't seen it yet. So I said, you know what? I like the idea of unifying them. Let's see where it goes. I still hold, though, the fact of I don't mind the tag titles being unified. But I do think the world titles, I think that we need 2. I do. I think we need 2.
Well, as far as the tag titles being unified, it's not a whole lot of tag teams out there. So the tag team championship being unified, you don't really notice it as much. Okay.
Right.
But the Roman thing, like I said, I'm not going to rub it in or anything. I'm not going to rub it in. I'm not going to make it a conversation or anything like that. We still got about, 7 minutes before that next break. So I'm not going to even, hey, I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I'm not a Barry Horowitz. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I said it. Yeah.
You did say it.
Yeah.
You did say it. So I'll give you that.
I did.
I do want to ask you one thing about Roman Reigns because he did an interview with Logan Paul on Logan Paul's podcast, and they talked to him about the time that he was in the program with John Cena going into No Mercy, I believe in 2017, in Los Angeles, and they had their first match that night, and there was the promo in the lead up to it where John was coming hard at Roman, like boom, bar, like killing him. And then Roman froze, forgot his words, stumbled. I mean, this was a real life moment, right? This was a real life moment. I remember watching that at the time and being like, God damn, it's like when the guy chokes the rap, battle rap, when it's time for B Rabbit and B Rabbit just chokes in 8 Mile, right? It makes you feel bad for him. I wanted to ask you though, have you ever been in an exchange of words or during a promo or something, and you just get completely lost in what's going on? Has that ever happened to you?
No, not as far as a promo from an exchange perspective.
Right.
No, it's never happened to me before. No, I've forgotten my words.
Okay, so you forgot your words. How does it feel though when you're out there and you're doing that? I mean, you're in front of a live crowd on television and at home, and you just lost.
Well, you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to figure it out. You got to calm yourself down, literally. Because I remember going out and I had to, say something. I think I was general manager, and as soon as I walked out the curtain, I forgot everything I was supposed to say. And I got the microphone in my hand, and I know the clock is ticking. And I go, and I tell the crowd, just bear with me for a second. I got this. And then I calm myself down. I figured out what I was supposed to say, and I said it. I had totally went blank.
Just bear with me. I got this.
Bear with me. It's like it was some breaking news. Some stuff was happening, and I had to figure it out. Bear with me, I got this.
That might be the greatest line in the history of pro wrestling.
I did, man. I did not know what I was going to say. And I ended up pulling it off, getting through it. And, like, my God, I remember one time I was doing a promo, and it was myself, Charmel, and Teddy Long. And we're like in the middle of the ring. And Teddy totally forgot his lines. I'll be 100%. He just went blank. And Charmel picked his lines up and just started going with it and said, Teddy, you're not going to, come back there and tell me this and this and this and this and this and put Teddy right back on track. I was like, baby was like just awesome, man. She totally just, Teddy, he thank her for that to this day.
I love that.
That's the way you work sometimes, man. Sometimes you got to have somebody else pick your slack up, seriously.
By the way, shout out to your wife. I believe she was just in a big Hulu show, the Mike Tyson show on Hulu. She had a little role on that one.
Heck yeah, man. She up there talking crap too, man, looking like an activist, like she, part of the Panthers or something, So big up to the wife, man. Seriously, we done watched it at least 50 times.
Wait, baby, let me show you this one more time. Did you see? Did you see when I?
I'm getting like a taste of the medicine I be giving her. You know what I mean? Hey, baby, come check this out.
Well, shout out to. I haven't watched that show yet. I need to give it a go. The Mike Tyson show on Hulu. I need to give that one a go.
I watch Prey.
The new Alien movie, right? Or Predator movie.
Yeah, we watched that a couple of nights ago, date night here at the house, and it was pretty cool.
I heard it's real good.
It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Hey, I don't want to give anything away. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So let me ask you this though, because that's a kind of remake of a classic movie, or a continuation, I should say. Does it give you any hope for Beverly Hills Cop 4? Because I was a little hurt. By what you said the other night. And you know what? This weekend we got a new Fletch movie coming out in theaters. I'm excited for the 80s are coming back. Beverly Hills Cop 4. Like, I'm all in.
Look, man, I'm not going back to the 80s. I do not want to see Beverly Hills Cop. I don't want to see Fletch. I don't want to see these old guys, man. I'm just saying. I mean, I love, my generation and whatnot, but I don't want to see remakes of old movies. Fletch was good, I love Fletch. It was a really good movie. Beverly Hills Cop, one of my all-time, favorite movies. But I can't see Eddie Murphy being able to pull that off ever again. He can't do it. It's not going to happen. Chevy Chase.
No, Fletch isn't played by Chevy. He's played by a different actor this time.
Who is he played by this time?
John Hamm from Mad Men.
That's really going to mess it up. It's going to mess it up. It's not going to happen. We're going to be doing a National Lampoon's Vacation coming up real soon. Okay? Trust me.
They did that a couple years ago, actually.
I don't want to see it. We got
that one was a skippable. Trust me. If there ever was a movie you could burn.
Okay, so what do you think going to happen here?
I'm positive about
those were pretty funny movies back then. So what do you think is going to happen here? It's just like when I went to go see Eric B. and Rakim. Stick around,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
We'll be back in a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, and Diego De La Cruz now, obviously the veteran here between the two. Wait a minute. Head scissor. Les hits a head scissor. That takes some crazy athleticism. Splash. Les is showing us what he's got. Oh my gosh, cover 1, 2, and oh man. Ada Cristiano there, and now it's Bedlam. It's a brawl. It's a brawl here at the Summer of Champions.
get your damn popcorn. Go keto.
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Shup! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We getting this thing done, man. Even with the little power outage Brad been having over there in the Friendswood area. When we back, we doing it, man. We doing it big. We got any more super chats, man? We got any more super chats?
We do. But before we take them, a friend of the show, a friend of Reality of Wrestling, a guy who we just saw a clip of, Les. Les is watching the show right now. So what up, Les? Hope you're doing well, my friend. He texted me this in the break. He said, Beverly Hills Cop 4 might be needed. Just keep whoever did Coming to America 2 away from it. And that one, I agree with him. Well, Coming to America 2 was awful.
Well, Bad Boys for Life. You say you like that, right?
I did like Bad Boys for Life. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
You know, I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I just don't think it's going to turn out well, man. And you know what? Just let me know how it turned out. I'll tell you that. Because I'm not going to watch it, okay, until it come out on television.
Okay, we'll get. I think it's a Netflix movie, so we'll see how it goes. County Toenail says, "What the hell you doing in here, Sam, Jimmy, Frank?"
Hey man, that's what I'm saying, man. You know, that's acting. All right, that's when you taking your acting game all the way up to another level, right there. Because that's what the business is. We talked about the entertainment side, and then we talk about the wrestling side. You got to have both. That right there, some of Reality of Wrestling's, finest clips. Guys, check out your Reality of Wrestling. If you know somebody who do not subscribe to the YouTube channel, tell them what they're missing as far as what we got going on in Reality of Wrestling, because we are the best as far as independent wrestling on the Gulf Coast, as far as teaching these young guys how to go out and work behind the camera, in front of the camera, as well as behind the camera. That's what everybody get at Reality of Wrestling, a lesson. So check it out, man. Check it out and be a part of the row.
This is from Brooklyn Brian. Rock versus Roman, WrestleMania 39. Roman said, "I'm ready." We'll see if that happens. I have my doubts, but I would love it.
I can see that happening. Like I say, you say ride it to WrestleMania. I say ride it to right before WrestleMania and the return of Cody. And then if we have that match right there at WrestleMania, we can still have it. You know what I mean? Because there will be no title involved. It's a whole lot. I don't want to book the match or anything like that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that could happen.
This is from Naval Nation too, who said, "Do you think WWE needs to relax on censorship and storylines and bring back some of the old school noise? Would you say yes to it? I'm just curious how WWE goes forward."
Old school noise, as in,
I wonder if he's talking. I don't know if he's talking more about like the explicit nature of how the show was back in the Attitude Era. Is kind of what I'm gathering from that. Which I say they're doing fine without that.
I think we're, right now, I always say you got to know how to walk that line. You got to know how to stay on it. You can't fall over each way or anything like that. And I think WWE is straddling that line perfectly right now. I don't think we should ever go back to the way wrestling was back in the day, because a lot of the stuff that went down, frankly, back then just don't pass the smell test today as far as, the way we are, as human beings. So no, I don't think we should go back, in time at all.
Yeah, I mean, what made that era good made it good for that era. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean we need to replicate it in 2022 because they're not going to have the women out there doing bikini contests, and they're not going to have DX coming out there dressed as the Nation anymore. We're just in a different time. We're in a different world.
Definitely are. Especially, just say for instance, you think they can get away with some of the stuff that they did on ECW today and have a television contract? That's the thing that you got to think about. Also, as far as you got sponsors, you got a lot of people looking at your show, and you don't want to get too far, over the edge to where people start looking at you and going, I don't know about this. You don't want that at all.
Yeah, you don't want all that. I mean, ECW, that's definitely a different level. I mean, they had all kinds of storylines that wouldn't be appropriate for television. Even they can't even do some of that stuff on the internet. YouTube would take them down.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah, so that would not be great. That would not be great for anybody. Talking about the WWE today, there was a slide story I want to get your reaction to, because NXT about a year ago became NXT 2.0. We got the multicolor NXT and changed the vibe of the show, changed the direction of the brand. And it was revealed via social media graphic on Tuesday night. There was a tweet that went out from NXT that said loading, and it was a GIF of the colors changing from the multicolor graphic back to black and gold, signaling a return of the black and gold brand. I don't know if the whole show's going to change, but I mean, what do you think of that? Of NXT going back to black and gold roots? I don't know if it's more than a color change or if it's going to be a philosophy change.
I think both. I think it's going to be both. I think the philosophy has already, people feeling the change in WWE. I mean, just like I say, you hear the rumblings as far as people saying, man, I even heard, SmackDown feels like the old NXT now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, when you can make guys, you got to know how to make guys want to come and be on your team. And that's one thing about WWE forever, for years. If you was a pro wrestler, you wanted to go there. That was the ultimate goal, was to get to WWE. And AEW has come along, and it's definitely got a lot of young guys now thinking, man, I might want to go to AEW. But the goal is to always have these young guys thinking that the WWE is the ultimate, the ultimate spot if you want to, be in this business and, rise to that level to where you're going to be seen, around the world, and you're going to, that what the logo says, World Wrestling Entertainment. You're going to go around the world and see it, and I think that's what they're striving for. Again, is trying to make young people, gravitate to that logo.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the NXT black and gold, though, definitely symbolizes, the Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn kind of run of the brand. And recently, I mean, those guys had been on the indies for 10, 15, sometimes 20 years before they even got that spot to Finn Balor. Nowadays, the NXT product, which I actually think is for the better, but a lot of the people who are wrestling have had 7, 8, 9 months of training before being on the main roster. I mean, maybe the most tenured veteran has a few years of training before, kind of moving on to the main roster. Do you think that they should go back to the super indie as people described them before, or should it just kind of be a color shift and continue what we're seeing with NXT 2.0, maybe just a little bit different?
It's really hard to say, man, just because I don't want to be, second guessing what those guys are doing. It's just not me. But as far as I was always one of the guys talking about competing against, yourself. And one thing I thought, like back in the day, the NXT brand had grown, exponentially to where it was competing with the main roster as far as fans enthusiasm go. And I just don't think you ever want to, have that, friction, because it's your shows and you don't ever want to compete against yourself. I always thought NXT should have been that, that camp, that breeding ground where you're getting guys ready to come up to the next level, the Braun Breakers, getting ready to come up to the next level. And, you just don't want to, have both brands looking too much alike, and being able to separate it and people understand what both brands are. I think they will be able to take both brands for what they are, opposed to trying to make them compete against each other. Man, I like this one more than the other one. I don't think we need that.
And I think they're changing to the black and gold this upcoming Tuesday. I believe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I guarantee they'll have a ratings boost just from a color change. Even if the show doesn't change at all, I guarantee you the black and gold branding is going to get a lot of people excited and they just want to go see what it's going to be about. I guarantee, I'm saying it right now, there's going to be a ratings bump when they go back to black and gold.
Yeah, I like it. I like a ratings bump. That sounds good to me. Now we're going to take a break. We got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. I'm serious. Now, I was looking at I was reading an article. It was a quote from Shelton Benjamin, and he was saying Brock, character on television right now is the Brock that's around the boys, around his friends all the time. And the thing is, I can attest to that. I tell the story about when we were snowing in Connecticut, and man, we hanging out, getting the free drinks, you know what I mean? We can't go anywhere, so we just hanging out in the bar. And we had this bartender, man, I don't know what her problem was, but she hated all of us. I mean, we could not get, nowhere with her. We was like, just keep the bar open for another hour, you're going to make some money. She's like, bar is closing in 10 minutes. We're like, good God, what's going on here? Brock Lesnar roll in, he's smiling, he's having fun. He goes to talk to the bartender. I don't know what he said to her, but the bar was open for the rest of the damn night. We was like, what the hell's going on? He's having fun. We was just like, wow, man, but he is that type of dude, man. And for that character to actually come out on screen is actually pretty cool. I like it because it takes nothing away from the beast incarnate when he goes out and take care of his business inside the ring. That's what I've talked about forever. Brock is improving my point right now very well.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're getting ready to wrap this thing here up here pretty soon. Before we get wrapped up, I don't want to forget. Rest in peace, Elias Theodore, a UFC fighter, passed away at the age of 34 years old of colon cancer. Man, Elias was a hell of a fighter, man. I hadn't seen him fight in quite some time, and then I saw that on the news just a couple of days ago. I just wanted to make sure, send my condolences out to his family. Man, what a dude, man. Every time I saw him, even in the octagon, I talk about, with my students, how, you see a fighter come to the ring and he's smiling, he's like freaking so happy. And he's getting ready to be in a fight, you know what I mean? That's what Elias was, man. He always had that beautiful, mane and flow, looking good. And to lose him at 34 years old, man, I just wanted to say, man, God bless. God bless.
Yeah, that's terribly sad news. Terribly sad news. Rest in peace and condolences to his family. Book, I know that we're wrapping things up this week. I know that we've talked about a lot of different wrestling stories, but there was something that was out there on the internet regarding you, but regarding your career. And it was the top 10 Booker T matches of all time, the greatest matches you've ever had. Have you seen this list that's floating out there?
I think I saw that a while back, yeah, and it was matches. I was like, wow, I was kind of blown away actually myself.
So, I just wanted to highlight a couple of them because I just want to know if you have any particular thoughts or memories of them. And I will be honest. Number one surprised me what they had listed as number one, and the author of this article is This is Joey Haverford from the Sportster. So is this the same article you think you read here?
Maybe.
Number 10 was Booker T versus Kurt Angle at Judgment Day 2005. And I know we've talked extensively about Kurt, but there are a couple of surprising ones. Here's one, number 7. I wanted to read this one to you. Number 7 is the Night of Champions, Booker T, Mick Foley, Bobby Lashley, John Cena, and Randy Orton in the main event of the Night of Champions here in Houston in 2007. I bring this one up. You seem to have no recollection of it when I say the match. I bring the match up because I actually showed you a clip of it at the Reality Wrestling taping over the weekend where you gave a nice super kick to our friend Mick Foley and caught him pretty snug with that kick. You don't remember this Night of Champions match? It was here in Houston.
Nah, man. I don't remember. I don't know. You know, who was all in that match?
It was you, Mick Foley, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Bobby Lashley, a 5-way in the main event.
Didn't I tell you, like, matches like that wasn't my forte, you know?
You didn't like multi-man matches.
I didn't like multi-man matches. I didn't have fun in multi-man matches. It was just not my deal. It's just not my thing. And I didn't feel anything having that match. Who won it?
I believe John won.
Okay, that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't remember it, because it wasn't about me. It was about John. No, I'm serious. You know, it was about John. So all my focus is to make sure this guy, look proper when he wins. And it's if I would have won, trust me, I would have remembered it. But I had no feeling going into it because my job was to go out there and perform.
Yeah, I hear you. So this one, then you probably won't remember either. So this is your number, number 4 greatest match of all time at No Mercy 2006. Booker T versus Bobby Lashley versus Finlay versus Batista.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, you remember that? What do you remember about this? And the world title was on the line. It was during your reign.
I didn't think it was one of my greatest matches or anything like that. Be honest. When I had matches like that, those matches wasn't my greatest matches. My greatest matches was when I was in there one-on-one with someone, going, toe to toe. That's normally my best matches. Or some of my tag matches with my brother and I. And the Steiner brothers, or the Nasties, So, that match definitely would not be high on the list as far as greatest matches for Booker T, from my perspective. But go ahead.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I disagree with some of this list, but I disagree the most with the number 1 greatest Booker T match of all time. Because this, I don't even think, is in the top 100 of your matches. Because I remember this match. This was at WrestleMania 23. Booker T versus CM Punk versus Edge versus Randy Orton versus Jeff and Matt Hardy versus Finlay versus Mr. Kennedy in the Money in the Bank.
This is the dumbest list I ever heard of in my life.
I actually remember that Money in the Bank match, and I remember it not being not a bad match, but I don't remember it being anything special.
I don't remember it at all. I don't remember it at all, and it's because it didn't mean anything to me. I don't know who this guy is, how he formed his, list, and but maybe I appreciate him putting the list together on me. But those would not be my favorite. I tell you that.
Yeah. Now he has number 2 as you versus Benoit at the Great American Bash, which is a phenomenal match.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 could have been Benoit and I.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then they could have put the other
best
2
of 7 that went 8. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I don't know what this guy was thinking about. that's the opinion, of one person, and I think it's got to be the opinion of one person because they couldn't have done a poll and come up with those matches. You know what I mean? So, hey, man, more power to them.
More power to him. But shout out to the list. If y'all want to go make your own top 10 Booker T list, you can go ahead. Now I remember the match at Vengeance Night of Champions because I was in the crowd. And I remember it was the first WWE show I went to where there was a table spot in the show, and it was in the main event. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I had my Nokia flip phone out, and I recorded it. And it was grainy as all hell. You didn't know what was happening. You could just hear the table go, the announce table. I remember that moment to this day of seeing that match. And you were the heel, but you were in Houston. So, of course, you got cheered, when you came through. And then, we talked about with Jericho, eventually you got the crowd to boo you. So,
hey, that's my job. That's my job.
That's your job. We have one more super chat, I think, before we wrap this show up. This is from Naval Nation. Would you do one last match at WrestleMania? Probably been asked before, but Booker versus Edge for argument's sake in 2023 or 2024? You ever?
If there was to ask me to do a WrestleMania match with Edge, of course I would do it. I don't think there's anything on their radar or anything like that. I don't have any itch to scratch as far as getting back in the ring or anything. But me, guys, I'm all about that paper, baby. So that WrestleMania check was always good. But I would love to step back in the ring if the situation was right. I heard Baron Corbin calling me out. Sami Zayn is out there doing some stuff. Miz, certain guys I would love to, do some stuff with. But they better be able to take care of me more than anything.
And they better be able to come down to Reality Wrestling to help build the angle, so we could do it on our TV, do it on WWE TV. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about rating.
Everything. Seriously.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody watching us today. We really appreciate that. Thank you for bearing with us for some tech issues. My internet's still not back, man. Xfinity, they're not getting my bill. They're not getting that bill paid this month, man. I can't do it.
You better pay the bill. It really ain't gonna be working if you don't do that. So just suffer, man. Just suffer, man. That's the way it is, man. Lights go out every now and then in the Friendswood area, but they always seem to, get them back on pretty quick. That's what it's like here in the woods, man. So no, man. Don't hate. Appreciate.
That's right. That's right.
We got to get ready to get up out of here, man. I want to thank everybody for stepping in the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams on the regular. As always, Brad, I appreciate you, man, for making sure everything is going down. Hey, I'm getting ready to do some new stuff, man, in the mornings. If you guys know about this Twitch thing. Of course, you guys know about it. I'm the one who don't know a whole lot about it, but my man is setting me up downstairs. Well, I'm going to be on Twitch. 8 o'clock in the morning is playing 2K23 golf. And if anybody out there want to get around a golf in with me, 8 in the mornings, jump on board, man. Let's see what you got. Because right now I'm birdies, eagles, and condors, baby. That's me right now. But we got to get up out of here. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the morning on Twitch. But right now, guys, peace. We out of here.